right. I know we're going on that. We're going on that. All right. Do you want to clap?
Sure.
All right. Clap us in. Nice. We're in.
I practiced that part.
Good. Well done. Hey, welcome to the Fireside Tattoo Podcast. I'm Jake. This is Tommy Altman. We're at Evergreen Tattoo Invitational in Eugene, Oregon, which is the other side of the world for both of us.
Yes. Almost literally.
Yeah, it's a long flight. So Tommy is in Virginia Beach, or just outside of Virginia.
We're in Virginia Beach, yeah.
Yeah.
The Sandbridge district of Virginia Beach.
Okay, so Sandbridge isn't a separate town. It's just the.
No, it's just where they're bougie, so like they want to say they're Sandbridge.
Gotcha. Yeah. So we first met at the Impact event last fall, whenever that was, and hung out a little bit, drank some beers, and I got to know you and your wife a little. And one thing that you came in here early, so that was an educational event for you guys that don't know Impact. You should know it. We're doing it again. We're doing it this year. You're not making it this year. You got something else.
No,
going.
Yeah. I won't be there, but I'll be in Vietnam, I think. So, but yeah, no, I mean it's totally worth going.
Yeah.
And you get to hear Jake talk. Which is dope. But
Yeah.
I mean, no, it's we got a ton out of it, man. Like. It helped us in so many different levels. It's really cool. Yeah,
because you guys own your own shop, and it's a decent size shop, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's me. It's four of us. Four tattooers, and I think we're about 1,600 square feet or whatever. But it's fun. We actually took the Impact project right about the perfect time for us, really, because we're just opening and everything else. It answered a lot of the questions that were like, oh, okay, you're doing that right, but then stuff that you never even would have thought of. I was really appreciative, to be able to go to that and all the stuff that Mel puts into it, man. It's great. So.
Yeah, it was. And where I was going with that, because you came in and did the educational here before this. There's a 2-day educational event before the actual convention here. You guys really put yourself out there a lot, and you do a lot of educational, like continuing ed kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's important. Otherwise I feel like I get stagnant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy when you stay in your own little hole, to think that you're awesome, and oh man, clients always tell you you're great,
right.
But they have a vested interest because they wear it, so they want to think it's great. But I mean, for me, I just want to keep growing. And I think. You think that you're doing really good, and then you go to educational or something like that, and you're like, oh, man, I really suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it changes everything, so it's great, man. You got to do that.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think so many people kind of just like hunker down and do the same work that they've always done, and you will if you surround yourself with people that, with your clientele and with the other artists in your shop. It's so easy just to get super stagnant. Keep doing what you've always done because it works and because people are still coming through the door and getting
pays the bills.
Yeah. And it takes a little bit more. It takes some courage to get out there and like see what you're doing wrong or where you could improve, and you have to.
It's a kick in the nuts.
Yourself a little bit.
I mean, it really is. And you go out there and you think, of course, that's especially when you start going to like conventions, you win a couple awards, or whatever. You're like, oh man, I'm doing great, and then you go to. Hear these guys talk, and like Robert Langston and Mark Wasker. I can never say his name right, but and then of course like Nico and Rember. Like you hear these guys talk, and you start looking at their work, and you're like, holy crap, man, I got so much to grow on.
Yeah.
And we're in the service industry, so we get to provide a better service to our clients. We get to go back, and to me, that's always been important. So yeah.
Was there anything that you picked up this past week that you'll plug in when you get back home? Was it all drawing focused for the most part?
It was less. They talked about, especially Nico talked about, if you can't draw, don't tattoo it, which I totally agree with.
Yeah.
But actually, it was a lot on just the technical part of everything, which for me was really cool because I've been getting into a lot more, large scale black and gray, which I really enjoy. But I was doing stuff that I didn't realize was stupid, and stuff that flattens out images real quick, like putting a ton of black in your background. If you're doing background that's actually like a landscape or something like that, as soon as you start putting black in it, it pulls it to the front. Stuff like that. It was just like, man, edges. They talked about paying attention to your edges, blurring them out, which is always. It looks easy when you look at it, like, oh, just make it blurry so you don't put in as much work. It's like, no, that's actually not true.
Yeah, it's actually a lot. It's funny to make stuff look immediate and careless. You have to be so careful.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh man, yeah, and it is weird. Especially you look at people like, oh, that looks that looks easy. I'm like, well, no, it's a simple image, but it does not make it easy. So, but yeah, it's good. I mean, I've learned a ton. Yeah. I immediately hated all the work I've done.
Yes. Awesome. So, stylistically, you try a lot of different things. You've done some real painterly color stuff. Yeah. You're just saying you're doing a lot more large-scale black and gray, some stuff that's more of a traditional approach that I've seen. Is there something that you're trying to focus on more than other, or are you just trying to do the best job you can at whatever it is?
I definitely try and do the best job at whatever. I mean, if somebody comes in and they wanted a Finney symbol on their wrist, if I can get it in, like, I want to do the best at that, you know? Because, again, I think we provide a service, and it's important. But I love black and gray, like statue work, anything like Bernini statues. I mean, of course, we all love that stuff.
Yeah.
I like traditional Japanese. I've always been drawn to it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I got, you know, my right arm done by Mike Rubendahl. It's like, you know, it's like, I love that work. So those two always feel like they stand the test of time. But I love oil painting. And so flowers, that oil painting approach to that has always been fun for me. Yeah. We just never we don't know what that's going to look like in 20 years. It's just it hasn't been around long enough. So I always try to steer away from it to make sure I'm providing the service that I know is going to last forever. So, but it's hard because I still want to go back to that stuff.
Yeah. Are you able to see a lot of your healed work when you're doing some of this more painterly stuff, these soft edges and stuff like that? Are you getting to see it age?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I haven't been tattooing that long. You know, it's 7 years, and so and I've really only been doing that stuff for probably the last like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it, and I see it age. I haven't seen it age much past that, obviously. But I've seen some other people's work that I look up to that I've seen some of their stuff age, you know, especially with Instagram. You see everything now. And some guys are, you know, starting to put out all their healed stuff. And that's kind of this weird thing right now, so whatever. But yeah, I mean, you're getting to see that stuff. I just still feel like black and gray always holds up. And anything traditional, Japanese and stuff like that, it just holds up with that black background. And, man, I don't know. I just love that stuff. I love the contrast. So,
what size town is the Sandbridge area or Virginia Beach as a whole?
It's huge.
Okay, so it's
I mean, huge. It's actually a collection of, I guess, 7 cities or whatever. So, you know, even if you live in Norfolk or Virginia Beach or Chesapeake, they all are really close to each other. It's probably, I don't know, it's over 1 million people, man. It's huge. But it's because, I mean, it's a major Navy base, you know, but they also have the Marines, they have the Air Force and the Army there, so Coast Guard's there. It's just such a huge military town that, you know, everybody just pulls in. And it's a big resort area, you know, with the beach and stuff. So
Yeah. So with it being a big military town, does the town as a whole lean towards a certain style? Is it a kind of a hodgepodge of stuff stylistically?
That's what I love about it. You know, to me, that area is a true reflection of tattooing as a whole, where like there's room for everybody. You know, there's the clients there. They're so diverse of what they want, and with the different studios and the guys there. I mean, it's a great level of tattooers that are there. So I like that because it keeps on pushing me and stuff like that. So that's great.
You guys have some really well-known tattooers out of Virginia Beach too.
Aren't there
some folks that have moved.
Who
are some big
Andy Chambers is over there.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Andy Chambers is one of those guys, man. Like, you know, I've talked to a couple people like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, if you don't know Andy Chambers, you're crazy.
He's
awesome. Great. You know, who else is over? Sketchy. Sketchy just opened up over there down in Norfolk. Super nice guy. You know, I got to hang out with him a little bit. He's been great.
We met him briefly. When we podcasted with Yogi Barrett, it was at Sketchy's shop in Georgia. What was that town called? The town in Georgia that we podcasted with, where Sketchy Lawyer's other shop, Sonoya. Yeah, Sonoya.
Very
beautiful shop down there, and we spent just a little bit. We didn't podcast with him. We spent a little time with him. Super cool guy, really nice.
Yeah, I mean, I like the guy. You know what I mean? It's great. I mean, Carl Fuchs is out there. Sean Carnes' work is great, man. Like,
I don't know him.
You should check him out. He's dope.
Okay.
Yeah, and a nice guy. I mean, I don't know. I am drawn to people's work. I'm more and more drawn to people who do good work and are nice guys.
Right. That helps.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sure.
I think it does.
Yeah, and you know, it seems like as long as we've been doing this, getting people one-on-one, almost everyone. It's so rare that we get someone on that I'm like, that interview couldn't get over fast enough for me. You know, like, it's happened a couple of times, but very, very rarely.
Yeah.
Most everyone, once you sit down and we all have kind of common goals. No one gets into this line of work trying, like, not wanting to get better, and not wanting to be good, and not wanting to learn. And so, I guess there are a lot of other professions. You do it just to pay the bills, and so you can be any kind of character. But you sit down with someone and start talking about drawing or talking about tattoos,
right?
And for the most part, they're going to be pretty cool and easy to do.
I think it's a small percentage that do that, and the ones that do, like, they get passed real quick, and you kind of get stuck in a corner, It does suck when you see people who are growing and then all of a sudden just don't want to anymore, and you just see their work. It doesn't even stay plateaued. It just crashes, It's so... I love that. The more you start coming, especially conventions like at this level, like with Evergreen and stuff like that, you see these people that really just want to keep pushing themselves, and I don't know.
Yeah,
it's important.
It's hard, these days. I think it makes it more of a community because everyone is so good. It's hard to be super competitive these days. I judged Tattoo of the Day yesterday, and I saw like 25 tattoos that were awesome.
Ridiculous.
I mean, so good.
Yeah,
and it's just like, I mean, what's the point in trying to be the best tattooer? It's impossible. You might as well just like enjoy it, do the best you can on every piece, enjoy it, because you're never going to be better than half of those tattoos.
No, I mean,
that's for sure.
Like you have Daniel and Ruben and Mark, all those guys from Denmark, and it's just like you see their black and gray, you're like, good gracious, man.
Amazing.
You go walk by Rimber.
Yeah.
Holy crap,
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, it is.
It's good, though. I mean, I like that because it takes some of that ego out of it, where you had this thing, all artists have it, I feel like, where you kind of like, you're putting part of you in it, So you had this ego where you kind of want to be the best or whatever, but I don't know. Like, once you see stuff like that, it takes that away. So
yeah, you're like, well, I can't be the best, obviously, because no one can. At this point, it's impossible.
Yep.
Talk for a second. We haven't talked much about this on any episodes lately, but you guys have kids, right?
Yep.
How
many? 2 boys.
Yeah. So how do you what are your shop hours? Are you able to balance it where you're home a lot?
I mean, I try to. Because
your wife manages the shop.
Yeah. She quit her corporate job to come do that, and she's great. I mean, she's got a degree in business management, so it kind of made sense.
Yeah.
I don't like to do numbers, you know what I mean? I tell people, I'm like, I don't do math. I make pictures with dots, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, no, we get there at 10:30. Shop opens at 11, and we close at 9.
Okay.
And so I always give, guys are always getting off. Like all of us take 2 early days.
Okay.
Every week. So, but we're always closed Sundays and Mondays. So everybody gets a true weekend.
Yeah.
The family time is important to us, man. If not, it's easy as a tattooer, I find. We could work forever. You can sit there for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and somebody will come sit in your chair. Yeah. Especially once you start getting any kind of, wait list. Like, so you have to realize, like, as much as you're providing a service to your clients and you want to be your best, you got to take time off to do that. And your family, man, you miss that time. It goes so fast.
Yeah.
I used to hear, my granddad and everybody say that stuff, and I was like, all right, whatever, old man. And now I'm like, yeah, he was totally right.
Yeah, man, it's
and it
crazy.
does suck when it rains, or your knees hurt and your back hurts.
Right. Yeah, that too. He was right on both accounts. So you said you guys are going to Vietnam this coming year. Do the kids go with you there?
No, it'll just be me.
Okay.
Yeah, we go over through a nonprofit, and there's this group of people, the Mien people, up in the mountains. As like civilization gets a little closer, they retreat because they want to save their culture, their heritage, and stuff.
Yeah.
However, like the kids were all malnourished and low life expectancy because they were diverting water from the rivers into like these little like pools, but the buffaloes were going in there and bathing and doing their business, and then everybody's drinking out of it. They're like, well, I don't know why we're sick. I'm like, I got an idea. So, we're digging wells for them, and then we get to, we created these, like, built these schools for them, which is cool because the government's a part of it, and they've actually, like, gotten on board and, like, totally, like, man, we love what you guys are doing, which is really cool. I mean, you wouldn't expect it there. But we did this the nutritional program for them, so they're actually just, I mean, it's simple stuff like boxed milk, and these kids are actually being able to, like, get a little fatter and, and be healthy. And it's been great, man, because last time I went was like 2 years ago, and the headmaster, kind of like broke down, started crying, and we're like, well, what's going on, dude? Because they don't really show emotion like that. And he's like, I appreciate what you do for my kids. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he goes, I don't have to worry about my kids dying on the way home. These kids, I mean, they're 6, 7, 8 years old. They walk miles through the jungle back to home. And like some of these kids were just so tired, they'd sit down and die.
Wow.
And it's simply because they did not have the nourishment. And like, I mean, especially being a father, it breaks my heart,
Yeah.
And so us getting to go over there and be a part of that, and he's just like, I love that my kids are healthy, and he sees them as his own. Like it's really cool, man. Now we're going to build like a playground for him, so we get to hang out with these little kids.
Wow.
Cool.
How did you end up doing that?
Through our church.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, through our church, and they partner with a nonprofit, so it's actually not affiliated with any of that stuff, but like it's great, man. I love being a part of it and getting to hang out with people that they just care about other people. I mean, just be a good human being.
And you would never. I mean, like, what are the chances you would ever, see anything like that in your lifetime? Otherwise, that's crazy. Are you able to? Are you working the entire time you're there? Have you gotten to like? Probably not tattoo, but see any part of any tattoo community?
No, so I wanted to. Last time I was like, oh, man, I'm going to go to a tattoo shop. And they're like, no, you don't. And I'm like, what do you mean I don't want to go? And they're like, they're not good, And I was like, so the translators were like, no, because in that culture they still see, it's the typical like cliche with tattooing, but in that culture they see it as a criminal element. And so they're not the best tattooers, the ones that I saw, you know what I mean? Like the tattoos that were put out. And so it was really interesting because in their culture, not only do they associate with tattoos with the criminal element, but the higher level of your tattoos, the higher you are in this thing.
Oh, really?
And if you have a beard, like only the rich people have beards. So it's really funny because like I'm like a head taller than all these guys, and I'm not that big of a dude,
Right.
I had a huge beard, and I got these tattoos, and so like I walk through the market and everybody just like parts, and I'm like, this is really weird, man. So I try to negotiate. I'm like, oh man, let me get this, and they was like, no, and I was like, I talked to the translators. I'm like, why can't we can't talk them down, man? They think that you're filthy rich and you're a huge criminal overlord. I was like, oh man. I was like, well, tell them that. I have to go shake hands. They're like, oh. I'm like, so it's really cool, man. It's weird, man. All the girls want to touch your beard, and you're like, stop, man. Where your hands have been.
Really?
It's cool. But it was really cool talking to the government officials that were there because he was kind of weirded out by me a little bit, obviously a little bit standoffish. But the more we talked, he was like, so what do you do? And I was like, well, I tattoo, through the translator. And he was like, tattoos like this that you have? And I was like, yeah. He goes, that's art. And I was like, it's cool seeing, because they had that stigma over there. It was really cool seeing them be able to see quality tattoos and go,
recognize it.
Wow, that's art. Yeah. So, I mean, that stuff translates, dude. So.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's super cool that you get. And so how long are you there?
10 days. Yeah.
And are you able to completely step away from the shop and have no involvement whatsoever for that period of time? Yeah,
my wife does so much work at the shop. I mean, even when I'm in town, for crying out loud, to be honest, and that actually allows me to put all I can into tattooing for my clients, which is great, and I love being able to do that. So, but yeah, I'm able to step away and not have to deal with that stuff. Man, it's great. Yeah. And a lot of that too, I mean, it's a weird shameless plug for Rev 23. I mean, a lot of that has to do with Nate and all the work that he does. Yeah. It helps out so much. So it's great being able to step away.
I've heard I still haven't used it. I did a download of it when it was Tattoo Management Studio. Yep. And it was just being in a private studio, it was just way more. Right. There was like so much that I wouldn't use. Yep. So I ended up just I basically just use a spreadsheet. That's all, and it's real simple. But I'd like to sit down with him and talk. In fact, he was telling me not too long ago, because now I use Square scheduling and Square payment processing, and I said it's a spreadsheet. I use QuickBooks, but it's for Fireside as well as tattooing. Right. And he mentioned that I might be able to replace all of that with Rev 23, and it might even be cheaper than the monthly QuickBooks and the Square payment.
Yeah, I think that it would for sure. We found that anyway, and because with their credit card thing, my wife will be able to tell you better than I can, but because it's a collective of people using the same thing, you're able to get a smaller percentage taken out, that we have to pay in and stuff. So that's always nice. But also for me, like the scheduling stuff, like the calendars, the updates to your phone, I just love that. I mean, even now I can look at my phone real quick and see what I have next week and what the clients' names are, like what the topic is, and so it helps a lot. So.
That's awesome. And you're also, I mean, it has the ability to like store the inks that you used and all that.
You can do all the notes and stuff like that and keep it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's great, and especially when you're doing large scale stuff, and if someone lives out of town, you don't see them for months on end. I just had someone this morning email someone that I started to sleeve on probably before Christmas, and he's going to be back in June. And he was like, "Is there any way you can fit me in? I'll be in Memphis these days in June." And I was like, "Yeah." And then I started looking through. He sent me some healed photos of the piece, and my first thought was, "What green was that? What was I using on that?"
Because then you look at your arsenal of inks, and it's like I have 15 green. So, man, this is going to be fun.
yeah, exactly. So
we may rework this whole thing, bro. Don't worry about
right,
it.
Exactly. I like to transition from that green. You want to hit a viewer question real quick before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
All right. Chris Goldshag.
That's a dope name.
Yeah, 2 G's on the end. For conventions, what do you pack? They always say to travel light, but how light is too light?
Oh, good gracious. I always forget everything. You know what I mean? Honestly. So, yeah,
just
I forgot
show up with
saran wrap.
nothing and go, I did too.
Yeah.
I bought some on the way in today.
Yeah. I mean, I always hit up the guys here that sell stuff. But for me, I try to make things more compact. I'm actually thinking about just going to just black and gray when I go to conventions because it'll make it way easier.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I can ever get away from color, but I do. So, but I always bring one of the things that always brings my Felix light. I got that from
you were showing me that.
Yeah, from
Super
Nico,
cool.
man. Like I took his class, and that was one of the things he talked about. And lighting always is a bit tough. Even if they have a lot of light, you don't have like stuff from the side or whatever. So that helps me out a lot. And I just I have a small Pelican case that I have left over from the military. I shove everything in there, and then TSA opens it up and shakes it all up and throws away your power supply like this time. So,
they threw away your power supply?
Yeah, I had to buy a brand new one. It's like, thanks, guys. Yeah.
What did they think it was? Like a?
I don't know.
Oh wow.
Yeah. They didn't bother opening up. All my inks were wrapped together in one big old wrap. They didn't open that up. They took my power supply. I don't know. Probably fell out and they didn't realize it.
These are bags that you checked?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Shit, that's scary. I've never.
It's a real bummer.
Oh.
Yeah, I was freaking out. So.
Do you pack? I mean, do you use a more limited palette when you travel to conventions? Do you pack just a few?
Yeah, I try to. Yeah, I mean, obviously I don't bring everything. Good gracious, but I do bring a smaller palette, and then actually taking classes, is where I learned being able to mix through and go, okay, cool. I don't need that because I can mix these colors to get it, and so that helps a lot. And I'm not having to come back in and it's not a full sleeve. It's usually they're just bankers or something. So I can just have a weird little mix and be fine with it. So it helps out.
I'm the same way. I try to limit the palette like you. I try to wrap. I had a bottle of ink explode on the flight here, so I've got just a mess of stain in my setup. Yeah. But I try to pack light. We podcasted a few weeks ago with a guy named Manny Valerio or something like that, and he did what you were just talking about. He switched to only black and gray at conventions.
Yeah. I really think I want to.
Yeah. And that because you could probably, especially if the flash that you're putting out, if you're promoting yourself as a black and gray tattooer, anyways, I guess if you like my portfolio is it's nothing but bright color. So if I show up with black and gray, people would be like, I don't see any black and gray here. So I guess you have to be consistent.
Yeah, I mean, I have a little bit of everything in mind, so it kind of works out. And honestly, after everything I learned this week, I may just spend some time just focusing on black and gray for a while. So we'll see how that goes. I see some of my favorite tattooers, favorite artists. You'll see them kind of periodically go back to that. One of my favorite tattooers of all time is Tim Bedron, and I thought that he did some of the most beautiful, subtle color transitions and off tones before anyone was doing that stuff. That was so these organic, twisty trees that would have these purple undertones going into browns, and I thought that was his strong point. And if you look at his Instagram now, it's I only do black and gray tattoos. Yeah. And if you go through his entire portfolio, that's all that's there. And I think that going back to values and just that's what I was about to say, man. It makes you focus on the values, and then when you go back to color, I've seen that even in my own stuff where if I spend some time, everything is in clumps, you know what I mean, where you get all roses for a week or something crazy, and I get these clumps of black and gray, and I've always enjoyed it because then when I go back to color, it makes me look at, okay, what color of purple am I using? You know what I mean? What's the value that I'm going to put and all that stuff. It helps me out a lot. So
yeah, me too. That stuff is invaluable. But to this person's question, I completely agree that if there's anything, he said how light is too light. I definitely think that at the very least bring in a headlamp. Your light is awesome. A lot of people are using these Glamcore lights. We bring our big soft boxes, but that's for the podcast as well. I think lighting's huge. Is huge. You can limit your palette. You can bring limited needle configurations if you want to, although they don't take up that much room. But
they really don't. But you could buy that stuff here if you wanted to. I mean, honestly, you're going to use it anyway. So for me, lighting was a big deal. I just use a critical power supply. So that's small anyway. Some guys have
Yeah.
these huge ones.
Yeah.
And then, you know, obviously, like distilled water, you don't have to bring that stuff with you. You know what I mean? To pick that up where you're at. Saran wrap, pick it up where you're at. Paper towels, you know.
And you never know how it's different show to show, but like sometimes we pull up and like there are gloves, 2 or 3 rolls of paper towels,
Yep.
Maticide, like wipes and all that stuff, Saran wrap, and then other times you show up and it's just paper towels.
Oh, yeah.
Or sometimes almost nothing at all.
Dude, I've been to conventions and they don't even have a sharps container. I'm like,
right.
where do you even put this pointy thing, bro? Like, you know, so just throw it in the trash. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
we're not gonna do that. So what else are we gonna do?
Right,
You know, so
yeah.
you have to kind of collectively find one somewhere or whatever. But I mean, I think it's getting better. It's not getting it's getting away from that stuff. So. But I mean, places like here, like Evergreen, they always take care of you. So you don't have to worry about it.
They had a good setup here. But I had gone to before this one when we were Space City last month. The last few shows we had done, they had like Opticide wipes, these kind of wipes at each one. So I kind of got spoiled on the idea that they would just be there.
Yep.
And I was getting my inspection, and the girl was like, "So do you have Meticide or something like that?" And I was like, "You guys don't have it?" She's like, "No, do you have it?"
No, yeah.
It's like,
and some places ask for that. I mean, they did here ask for it,
they
you
asked
know.
for it here.
So I think that's something that's always smart to bring, you know, even if you just put it. Actually, you know, the little containers they put in wipes in for babies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Throw some in there so it doesn't go to spill and wrap it in plastic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because that big tube sometimes takes up some space.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always just find the smaller version of it. Yeah. That's what I do anyway. So it always helps.
What do you do as far as soaps and stuff go? Do you travel with just a small travel
I have
size?
a small soap, and I bring the Nalgene bottles.
Yeah, so you just
obviously
mix them
don't leave
here.
that filled. You know, I just mix it here. But I bring like the shampoo, the little travel shampoo thing. I put my soap in that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I do that, and then I throw a bottle of Bactine in there just to get people through things. But other than that, I mean, I use the that Bronner's hemp soap anyway, so it's just a little bit more mild.
Yeah.
So I just get a small thing of that because that goes a long way anyway. So
Yeah.
I like that stuff a lot.
Yeah. Well, cool. I hope that answers their question. All right. If people want to find you, where do they go? Instagram is.
Yeah, Instagram's Tommy Altman. I don't have anything creative. And then
crazy. Use your name on your Instagram.
It's so weird. Yeah, people ask me, "What's your tattoo name?" I'm like, Tommy Altman. And then I have a website. Just go to the shop site. You know, Sandbridge Tattoo.
Sandbridge Tattoo. We'll put all that stuff in the show notes.
No worries.
And if you want to get tattooed, if you're in the Virginia Beach area, are you doing any other shows coming up? Or
we did this one this year. We already did the Hampton one. We'll go back to there's one in Virginia Beach, and then there's a DC convention we got invited to, so we're gonna go up there.
Okay,
that's in June, I think. So,
June.
Yep.
Okay, well, cool. Well, so he's traveling a good bit, so you can catch up with him there.
Okay, man.
What else? Have we said it all? I guess
I
we've
don't
said
know.
it all.
Be good to your clients. Crying out loud, man. Like, geez.
They're paying
that's
the bills,
the big
right?
thing. Yeah, they pay the bills. It's a service industry, so
Yeah.
That's the big thing for me, man.
Awesome, dude. Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank you very
taking the
much,
time.
buddy. Yep.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.